let's start with the first thing before the tackle.
Okay.
The most critical thing for fluke fishing is wind and tide moving in the same direction.
Uh-huh.
If you've got wind counter to the tide, you're not going to catch fish because your drift is not going to be going with the water.
Yep.
And you've got to be moving the direction the water is moving. That's probably more important than any other tip there is.
Speaking about movement, what is your ideal drift? If you had the perfect day, wind and tide is in the same direction, how fast would you be moving?
Anywhere between 1 and 2 knots.
Okay, so you're moving at a good clip.
Yes.
Yeah.
They seem to bite best. They also seem to bite best at the ends of the tide, the last half hour of the tide. And when the bite shuts off, you'll have a drift and you're killing them. You go back up on the drift and you can't buy a fish.
Okay.
It's because the tide has stopped.
Yep.
When that happens, we'll often power drift.
Yep.
Pop the boat in and out of gear, going in the direction of the current.
Right, the new current that's moving slow.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we look at is we don't look at high tide and low tide.
Yeah.
We look at change of current.
Right.
And there's a big difference. Out in front of Point Judith, change of current occurs about 3 hours after high tide or 3 hours after low tide. It's a big difference.
Yep.
So you don't care about high tide and low tide as much as you care about change of current.
Right. And what kind of terrain are you drifting over?
If you're looking for larger fish, we're looking for terrain that has rocky bottom,
Yep.
or some type of rubble, and a change in contour. Any place where there's a drop-off works well. If you're fishing around some boulders, you're going to find bigger fish.
Uh-huh.
If you're fishing out in the sandy flats, you'll catch fish. They'll tend to be smaller.
Yep.
So we generally don't do that, and we also don't tend to fish in the fleets.
Yep. And what are some of your favorite rigs to use?
The primary rig that I use is, I call it a trailer rig.
Uh-huh.
I tie it with 20-pound test leader material,
Yep.
not monofilament, because the leader material tangles less.
Yep.
What I'll do is I'll put a dropper with a snap.
Yep.
Snap is what I'll use to attach a bucktail.
Mm-hmm.
The bucktail will serve as my weight. 4 ounces is what I use the most of, but we'll use 5 and 6 depending on the current.
Yep.
And these are the two types of bucktails that I use. This one works better in faster drifts because it's denser, has less of a profile, so it holds the bottom a little bit better.
Uh-huh.
And then off of the three-way, we have a trailer
Uh-huh.
to a spinner.
Yep. Could you hold that up, the spinner in the rig itself a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Good.
The spinner, I generally use about a number 4, either a Colorado or an Indiana spinner, either
Yep.
one. With a clevis, so it spins freely.
Uh-huh.
Then I'll use a couple of beads. I like glow beads,
Yep.
but I'll vary the color. I'll use red.
Yep.
I'll use glow.
Yep.
And then I use a squid skirt, and I also vary the colors there.
Yep.
I'll use white. I'll use chartreuse like this, green,
Yep.
pink.
Yep.
Those are probably my favorite colors. And when we're setting up, I'll set up different colors to see if color makes a difference.